Now check this out, we got a full-on bay tournament fishing boat, and we got a buddy, he's in between events, so we're gonna bring the boat in today, and Brian's gonna do some things to help him fish, catch those fish better. I'm gonna do some things to help him get out there to the right spots.
Yeah, he's one of those guys like us that gets to mix business and pleasure. The pleasure, 75 miles an hour with that baby right there.
Nothing like kicking off your shoes, relaxing a little bit, and still getting your job done. Now we got a 2-cycle engine, so we've got to put 2-cycle oil in it. Now here's our reservoir on the engine, but it's pretty small, so I've got a bigger one down here that I can fill a lot less often. So let me get my funnel down here, and one of the things you want to make sure that you don't obviously spill everywhere is make sure you've got the right oil, because we've got a 2-cycle engine, we're going to use 2-cycle oil. And you may wonder, what's the difference? Oil is oil. Well, it's not. I mean, it's got a base stock, a real high quality base stock, but it's got a formulation to it that's going to allow it to do different things, different properties, whether it's cold startability, whether it's anti-corrosion, or in the case of 2-cycle, you're burning it in the combustion chamber. There we go, top that guy off. So you don't want additives that you'd normally put in a 4-cycle engine getting burned and leaving deposits. Deposit formation is obviously bad. It can create hot spots, pre-ignition. So there's a specific formulation in a 2-stroke. Now this is a synthetic blend from Mystik. It's their JT4. Now what this is going to do is have a specific formulation for 2-cycle engines. So you've got longevity, friction, all the things you need oil to do. But it's also going to be, it's got cleaning agents in there so it can remove deposits that are already formulated in there. Now there's a lot of things that go into an oil, and we're going to get some of those on the bench because they're confusing, and we'll try to break them down a little more simply for you. Before we talk about additives, we should talk about friction. Now, you got a surface that looks really smooth, but under a microscope, your two surfaces look very jagged. Now, if you've got relative motion, you can see where the high peaks are going to crash, and you're going to have asperity contact, you're going to have adhesion, metal removal from one surface to another. I mean, that's wear. Now, wear is money, right? Because your parts are going to wear out, you're going to spend more dollars. Now, it's also heat, right? You're going to build up heat. That's lost energy, so that's fuel economy. So a lot of bad things can happen, and you need to get, obviously, parts lubricated. Well, how do you do that? Well, at rest, these are going to be pretty close together. But once I start getting some relative motion, just like a water skier gets pulled out of the water, he's going to be up on the surface in no time. Now we've got motion, but we don't have collision of any of these asperities or high points. We've got a hydrodynamic film. Now this can be a flat surface, or it can also be round surfaces. So if we look at, let's say, the bore of a crank, and we look at the block that it's surrounded by, we can have basically relative motion of those two surfaces. So at rest, this crank bore might be sitting down here at the bottom, but once I get this relative motion and this crank starts spinning, now I'm going to build up that hydrodynamic wedge. This crank bore is going to lift, and I'm going to have an even uniform film thickness all the way around. That's why at startup you get most of your wear, because you haven't built up a film thickness yet. Well, other components never get the surface speed, like gears. So they never have really that film thickness. They've got a lot of contact pressures. So that's why Mystik spends a lot on R&D developing formulations, off of base oil that's going to get you all the performance needs that you have, whether it's, anti-friction, so you don't get scuffing, minimal deposit formations, so you don't get hot spots, for pre-ignition, stuck rings, everything from, anti-foaming, or if you think about the environment you're in, this boat's picking up a lot of salt air and it's ingesting it through the crankcase. You don't need that chemistry causing a lot of bad things in your engines. You've got to account for those. So that's why these formulations are so important, because they take care of everything from just your friction to chemistry of everything that's going on. You don't see sludge anymore in engines. Engines are better designed, but the chemistry of the oil is better too. Hey, welcome back. And we've got our Mystik tournament boat here between fishing tournaments, and we're doing a little bit of maintenance on it. Now I've got my propeller off, and I'm going to grease this up a little bit just to make sure I don't get corrosion between my output shaft and my propeller. You want to make sure you use a marine grade grease, because it's going to have, like this one's an anhydrous calcium base. It's very water repellent. It's also got anti-corrosion additives in it, as well as elements for high pressures. That's going to make sure those salts aren't going to get in here and corrode all the important components, stick them together, or wear them out prematurely. You don't have to wait till the end of the season. Anytime you take a long trip, make sure you pack your bearings, check everything out. Now, a lot of times guys go to the lake, they're hauling, they build up a lot of heat, especially if you've got brakes, so everything's hot and expanded. Then you go dunk it in the water, it shrinks and contracts real fast. Well, you got moisture that could get sucked in there. So you could build up water in there pretty quickly. So that's something you always want to check. This is the same Mystik lubrication, the grease that we used in the rear. It's a heavy duty marine grade. It's great for keeping out the corrosion and for those long hauls. Hey Michael, how's it going, man?
Good. What's
This
going
is Michael
on?
De La Garza, our professional tournament fisherman and the guy with all the cool toys.
How'd the stand work out?
It's fabulous, man.
It
Nice,
fit?
nice and sturdy, fits in the locker, everything works.
We're gonna get a ride!
I hope the engine's running good. I brought my fishing pole. I like to just sweep down and grab them as I'm going.
Oh yeah, you ready? Woo. All right.
Man, that was a great day wakeboarding, a little fishing, some sunshine. Telling you what, man, Michael's got his feet. I thought we had good jobs.
I love my job.